I will be saving this live because my DMs have been totally smashed with questions about the testosterone results that I just posted. So I'm doing this live. I'll post it probably on my feed or something like that so you guys can watch it for the people that have questions and are not live on here. But you guys feel free to jump in and ask questions, do the trolling that some of you guys do, whatever, it doesn't matter. But I did want to talk about the testosterone results that I just got back. So just to give you some background, a lot of the questions that I'm getting are, hey, how do I optimize my testosterone, right? And of course, I first made the post and I didn't want to make it like a commercial, but I do believe that many of the supplements that I do take are a big contributing factor to that. Now, if you don't have your diet in check and you don't have your training in check, your sleep, your stress, which I can get into more in a minute, then just forget about the supplements, right? And people have asked me, well, why don't you just go on TRT or whatnot? But I just choose not to do that route. Once you go on TRT, you're pretty much stuck there forever. And at some point in time, I'm not a holier than thou natty. I don't judge people for making the decisions they make. It's just a decision that I have made to stay natty. So I've chosen not to go that route, not to go to TRT, and tried my entire life, really my entire adult life, to optimize my endogenous levels of hormones just through my lifestyle. For anybody who knows me, I'm pretty OCD about everything related to bodybuilding, right? So my sleep, my supplements, my diet, just in general. So all that stuff is on point. So I'm about to be 43 here in about a week or two. And I feel, knock on wood, I feel great. And my test levels, I just got my testosterone checked for my physical. And it's just a standard thing. I get tested every year. And so some people immediately jumped on there. It's high, but what about your FSH and LH? That'll prove that you're not taking an exogenous test. That's just not on a standard physical panel. So next time I do get blood work, I will make sure to add that in. Just, it's not gonna prove anything to the people that don't believe anyway. So for background, my test levels actually in my 20s were probably consistently around 6, 7, 800. And then through time, I've actually been able to have higher test levels. So in my 30s, I was around 900. This is definitely by far the highest my test levels have been. But usually between 900 and 1,000 is where I'm at. These were 1,100, and these were taken about 8 weeks into our Big Papa stack, which is our natural hormone optimizer. So a lot of questions about that and cycling that. But first and foremost, what I found to help in terms of increasing natural testosterone is I've backed off on my training frequency. It's only about one day, and I believe, when you're younger, you can handle a little bit more. But at 43 now, I find the sweet spot for me is 5 and 10 days of training with weights. The other 2 days, I do list cardio for about 40, 45 minutes. And I just find I recover better, and it's really helping me just generally feel better in the gym training 5 days versus 6 days. So that is one change that I've made as I've gotten older. The other thing is my diet. My diet is on point pretty much all the time. I'm still a bro with most things, but I do flexibly eat. If I want to eat stuff, I just add it in. I'm not too concerned about it because I'm not competing or anything. And so I pretty much eat ice cream, I think, just about every night as well, at least a little bit of ice cream, about 100 calories worth after dinner. So you can have those things as well. So I'm not super anal about everything. But the main thing that I do, which I feel like helps, is I make sure that at least at the very minimum 25% of my calories are coming from fat. At the end of the day, the fat and the cholesterol, that backbone is the backbone for testosterone. So if you don't have that, and especially I also eat some saturated fats in the form of egg yolks. I eat red meat every day. So red meat every day. I eat eggs about whole eggs, I should say, about every other day. And I make sure I have a significant amount of fat in my diet. It's not crazy. It's not even over 100 grams, but it is, I'm eating probably 90 grams of fat a day. And that is really my sweet spot for me. So some people who are on a low-fat diet, just eating egg whites, just eating fish, they're missing out on a lot of that. So besides the training frequency, the diet, making sure there's enough fat in there, dietary fat, with that cholesterol backbone, and saturated fat as well. So I have a decent amount in my diet. Sleep is another big thing. I mean, I like to sleep, to be honest with you. It is hard sometimes with 2 kids, you know, I don't know how many different businesses are going on here and all the brands and everything we got going on, but I've really tried to make that a priority. So if I'm waking up at 6 o'clock in the morning, which is usually about when I, go to sleep, I'm in bed, lights out at 10 o'clock. So I just, make certain sacrifices to get that sleep. And it's really important because it helps my training. It helps my cognitive function throughout the day to be able to run all these businesses and still be present for my kids. So sleep is huge. So training, diet, sleep, stress. Stress is a huge thing. And I'll get to the supplements in a second because I know that's probably what a lot of you guys want to hear me talk about. But being involved in these businesses is extremely stressful. Across all the different businesses, there's 50 some employees here. Well, I don't even know how many there are actually. And it's a lot because there's a lot of pressure on me to make the right decisions so that, because it affects their family as well. So there's a lot of stresses. In the supplement industry, there's even more stresses. It's a litigious industry. So, a lawsuit here, lawsuit there. I've learned to kind of take a deep breath, roll with the punches, and I really try to embrace eustress and not turn that eustress and all the good stuff we have going on into distress. And when there are things that are distressful, I really just try to take a big picture and focus on gratitude of what we do have, and that really helps keep my stress levels down. So I know that sounds super earthy, crunchy, kind of corny, but for me, that is huge. So with your stress level low, I think that is a huge factor in all of this. So I see a bunch of questions and comments in here. I'll scroll through here in a minute, but let me get on with talking about what my supplement stack was going into that blood work. Now, I will do a longer YouTube video. If you go out to my YouTube at Doug Miller Pro on YouTube, you'll see a video I did probably, about 5 years ago. It was kind of a trolling video clickbait video because I said, I think it said something like what Doug Miller really takes or something like that. And it was basically just me packing my pills for the week. Things have changed now. We have a lot more supplements, Lifeline supplements on the core side that I take now instead of some of those other things I used to take. So I will do a complete updated YouTube video of basically all the supplements I take. And I'll try to fit it all into one video, but there's different aspects. There's, your standard, your basics, your vitamins and minerals and preventative. And then there's things like your performance enhancers, like your natural test boosters. And then there's also your peri-workout nutrition, which has a lot more to do with powders than pills. So there's a lot involved in what I take in terms of supplements. And I realize, as the owner of these companies, I have the ability to basically take whatever I want. Now, it's still a cost to me, right? But I'm getting them at cost and not at retail price. So don't think for a second that I don't appreciate that supplements are expensive. And somebody made a comment like, testosterone's free with a prescription. Why would you do that? And it's just not what I choose to do. So again, I'm not judging you for going that route. I don't need it. I have high natural levels anyways, but I do take supplements that I think have contributed to that and have kept me in a really good range and feeling great at 43 years old. So the main stack that I take is the Big Papa stack, is what we call it at Core Nutritional. So I went through the warehouse and grabbed a bunch of this stuff. So it's 4 products. It's Core Test. So this is kind of the base supplement here. Not only does this have a very bioavailable form of D-aspartic acid that has some really good studies on it. It's a calcium form of that. at the full efficacious dose, but it has a full 675 milligrams of KSM 66, which has great studies not only for cortisol, which I'll talk about in another product, but also for test boosting at that 675 level. It also has some bolbine, some pine bark for anti-estrogen aspects, longfolia. You can read about all this stuff on the core site. I'm not going to bore you with that. So this is core test. This is kind of the base of the Big Papa stack. I take one scoop and I take it. Hi, Patrick. Hey, I take it in the afternoon. Sometimes if you take this on an empty stomach or you throw it in with your pre-workout, because of the D-aspartic acid, it's going to upset your stomach. So I like to take this with my afternoon stack, which is usually like greens and collagen, something like that. So it's just get one scoop in a day. That's part of the Big Papa stack. The next product is Core Hard. Core Hard is our #1 selling SKU across the board for core nutritionals. This product is amazing. I think every competitor out there takes this product already, probably already knows about it. Core Hard is a natural recomposition agent, really focusing on cortisol and being an anti-cortisol. It has the KSM 66 in there, phosphatidylserine, some DIM, some cocobuterol. This product is incredible. If you ever are dieting and you hit a plateau, this is the product you wanna add in there. Usually, immediately we'll find a change in the scale at that point once you hit a plateau. I'm taking this really for that cortisol control, that stress control. So that's Core Hard. Core Alpha is probably our strongest product that we have. This product is similar to Core Test in that it's a test booster, but it's a very strong anti-estrogen. So this has 3-desoxy, 7-keto DHEA. It's not DHEA, but it is a downstream metabolite of DHEA, which acts as a very strong anti-estrogen. We also use N-methyl-D-aspartic acid in here. It's got forskolin, which helps increase luteinizing hormone, and cyclic AMP. We got mucuna, which is a source of L-DOPA, so that it can have some effects on your natural growth hormone levels as well. Vitamin D and vitamin zinc to support the higher test levels. This is phenomenal. I do want to say one quick thing there is that I do have really good vitamin D levels as well. So I supplement probably with 10,000 IUs a day across all the different supplements that I take. And I think that could also be contributing to the higher test levels. But so we have Core Alpha. And then finally we have 5-AT, which is another downstream metabolite of DHEA. Actually, it's a downstream metabolite of 7-keto DHEA and then 7-OH DHEA, and then 5-AT is a downstream metabolite of that. So, and just to be clear here for all the natural competitors out there, depending on your organization, if you test by WADA, these two products you cannot take, these two products you can take. And the OCB standards are changing where I competed. I don't know they change all the time. So I'm not going to be the one to tell you what you can and can't take. I know that this is specifically called out as fine for the OCB. I have no idea what their stance is on alpha. I do know that a lot of competitors have taken this and competed in the OCB. And, there's nothing in here that's going to cause you to mess up a drug test or anything like that. There's no exogenous hormones in here at the end of the day. So what these 4 products do is they work on your own endogenous levels, your own endocrine system, to stimulate and optimize your own ability, right? So having your LH, stimulates your pituitary to help your testes release testosterone. There's a lot of different mechanisms of action here, but this Big Papa stack together has been incredible. And we've seen, this isn't just my blood work, I've seen this in a ton of people, especially people on the lower end. We've seen blood work of people that are in the 300 levels go to 600 plus taking this. Now, usually if you're in the higher levels, which I am, you're not going to see as big of a jump, obviously, percentage-wise. You're not going to go from 900 testosterone as your natural baseline to 1,800 or something that's your 2,000 or something that's like a TRT level. That's not going to happen. That doesn't do this. This basically is just optimizing what your own body can do. So that is the Big Papa stack. And so I was taking that for 8 weeks leading up to that blood work. So I'm taking this usually for about 8 weeks on, and then there's nothing in here that's going to really you have to cycle, but I always feel that if you're constantly stimulating your body with endogenous herbs and whatnot to make different changes, your body's, you're going to not have as good of a response if you're constantly taking it. So I do 8 weeks of that. And then usually after that, I focus on some other type of natural anabolic stack. Focus more on ingredients that are more on the natural anabolic side, maybe things that help increase protein synthesis, as opposed to things that directly affect like your the efficiency of your endocrine system. Now, one other product, and I'll show you what I take on the 8 weeks off. Did I grab everything here? Yeah, I did. I got it. I'll show you what I take when I'm not taking the Big Papa Stack. This is something I take year round. This is something that I added in recently. This is prostate. This ingredient, like the formula on this, if you guys have not watched the video, I think Dave, one of our employees here, did a really good breakdown of this product. Prostate is kind of near and dear to my heart. That sounds so creepy. But prostate is the most comprehensive prostate all-in-one formula out there by far, but there's spillover benefits. And as I said, like my test levels are always usually pretty high. My free test levels are usually, they're high, but they're not quite as high on the reference range as my test levels, and that's because of having a decent amount of SHBG, or sex hormone binding globulin. And so this time, not only was my test levels really high, but my free tests were above the reference range. And this product, I think, has something to do with that. You know, the stinging nettle extract in here at the extract that we used and the dosage has the ability to reduce your SHBG, basically freeing up testosterone to actually work, right? And so this I take year round regardless. I do have a history of prostate cancer in my family. Both my father and my father's father had prostate cancer to some extent. So, you know, this is something that I watch. I also get my PSA checked and everything, you know, looks good. You know, I am only 43, but, you know, that's when you want to start getting your baseline early. So I suggest, I've been getting my baseline physicals and blood work for certain things, you know, that affect my family for many years now. And so I have a nice baseline so I can see when things change. So like, if you look at my blood work, people wanted to see more of my blood work. I know that I always have good HDL, but I also have decently high LDL, and that could be because I eat a lot of eggs and red meat, but it's really a genetic thing. So on my mom's side, they have high cholesterol. I think my dad's side also has some high cholesterol. So I know that my LDL has always been slightly, not like crazy high or anything like that, but just like right at the top level of, you know, like the reference range, right? So I know that. I also know that your ALT and your AST, your liver enzymes, even from my early 20s, and a lot of this has to do with how hard I train, because at the end of the day, training creates trauma and can elevate your liver enzymes right off the rip. So I always have right around the top of the range, AST, ALT, sometimes slightly over the reference range, like we're talking in the 40s here. So, you know, for me, that is normal for me. And so it's good that I know that, because I've been tracking it for the last 20 years, and I know because I'm always training hard that is normal for me. So now if I see that double, if I see the AST and ALT go, you know, to 80 or something like that, well, then that might be a red flag. But I have a baseline to know. And so I highly suggest you take a look at that. Somebody just said, why LDL elevated? I guess you just didn't listen to what I just said. So yeah, that's it's a genetic thing. And it's not anything super high. I do take our Heart Lifeline as well. But yeah, it's just like right at the top of the range. But again, it's been like that for a while. And same with, you know, my liver enzymes. I know I have them back into my 20s, and they're always like right at the high level. So you got to find your baseline for you. Yeah, moving on. What do I take when I'm not taking the Big Papa Stack? So I'm constantly cycling through different things. So it's 8 weeks on in the Big Papa, and then I roll into more of a natural anabolic route. So Corbolic, so this is a laxagenin and Pico-2. So laxagenin can help, you know, increase protein synthesis. Pico-2 can help with endurance. Full Metal Jacket. Full Metal Jacket not only has the betaine nitrate, which you're going to get a pump and some performance from, but it also has the mediator phosphatidic acid in here, which there's some cool studies on as well, as a natural muscle builder. Holopoint is our new one. This is our Testosterone and Epicat combo. Again, another more natural anabolic. It's not going to increase your testosterone or anything like that, but it's going to help optimize the environment to build muscle. So we have Holopoint, and then finally, I do still use a little bit of a natural test booster in here. A lot of the ingredients in here work through a slightly different mechanism than some of what was in the Big Papa stack. There is a tiny bit of overlap, but I try not to overlap those. And that's this one. Two of the big ingredients in Liberty Balls is the anacyclics and also the spilanthes, which are two really cool ingredients that I definitely advise you guys to read up on. So when I'm not taking the Big Papa stack, this stack, the Corbolic, the Full Metal Jacket by Miracle Labs, and then the Holopoint and Liberty Balls by Miracle Labs. That's my stack on the 8 weeks off of the Big Papa, and I pretty much just cycle through those throughout the year. And you know, I've been at 43. You know, there's definitely certain things I don't do anymore. I don't pull 6 plates anymore for 10 reps. It's just a recipe for disaster, and I love training, so I try to avoid that. I don't do a ton of like free weight squats anymore because I'm just not super comfortable doing them. But you know, we've created such an amazing gym here with so many good leg pieces that, you know, I love like hack squats and different pendulum squats and pit sharks and all those other things. So still crushing legs through different means, but I've kind of modified. I won't do flat bench, so like free weight squat, free weight bench, and free weight deadlift. Well, I still deadlift a little bit, but those I just stay away from because I feel the mind-muscle connection. I feel like I get stronger and make progress better by avoiding those. And so that's something that you have to, as you get older, you have to be mentally okay with as well. And I know that's hard for a lot of people because, I mean, shoot, at the end of the day, who doesn't love pulling 585 for 10 reps? Like that's pretty sweet, and it's you know, I still reminisce of those days when I used to do that. But you can find new ways to set PRs, and I'm stronger on certain exercises now than I was when I was 30 years old or 35, when I was probably at my all-time strongest. It's just they're different exercises. So, you know, you can get good at other things and continue to make progress and kind of refine your physique without doing the same things. I know I got a little bit kind of off topic there, but I think it's important for people as they age to kind of keep that in mind. Holy crap. So let me just, there's a lot of comments here. So while I'm on here, I'll have to see. Let's see here. Teach me about the Big Papa stack. All right, went over all that. Are you still training in the morning? If so, is this fasted? Can you talk about your pre-workout supplements? Yeah, so I made a switch, I don't know, 5-6 years ago, just because I have so many things going on in my life with my family and my kids and the businesses that I train in the morning now. I definitely eat. I'm not a fan of fasted training. I will do somewhat fasted cardio, but that's not without having a scoop of like isolate and some essential amino acids. I mean, I wake up starving. So I do about 100 grams, 50 grams of protein, 100 grams of carbs, and maybe 10 grams of fat as my pre-workout meal, probably only about an hour or an hour and a half before I train. And then I do a pre-workout. If that's an hour and a half before I train, I start sipping my pre-workout like 45 minutes before I train. And then I sip on that. I'm usually like a half an hour at least into my training until I finish my pre-workout. That's just what works for me. Yeah, I mean, you got to find out what works for you. I definitely feel like I'm a little stronger in the afternoon when I train because I have more food, more electrolytes, but I have been adding in the new Core Hydrate in my pre-workout, and it makes a massive difference because I like to eat a bowl of oatmeal, 4 or 3 scoops of Core MRP, and blueberries, which is about 100 grams of carbs. But there's not a ton of sodium in there, sodium and potassium, so throwing the Hydrate in my pre-workout has been huge. Which launches Monday. Do you sleep 8 hours every night? I try to. Let's see. If you guys have any other questions before I bounce off here, how many calories are you taking in? Right now, I'm taking in probably about between 3,300 and 3,400 calories a day. Let's see here. Miss your supplements in New Zealand. I think we have a new partner in New Zealand, and we also just did pick up a new distributor in Australia. So you should be seeing our supplements much more widespread now. Would you say an average genetic guy can get your size, and how long did it take you to get that size? I've been training for 25 years. So, and when I started, I was 135 pounds. I don't have, my parents will probably kill me for this, I don't have great genetics. I am naturally smaller. If I wouldn't be training and forcing myself to eat, I would be skinny. I did respond really well to weight training, and I think I have good genetics. I don't think I have great. There's people out there with a lot better genetics than I do, and I don't want to diminish that as a factor in my success, but I really don't have great genetics. There's definitely guys out there with better. So, I think the problem with a lot of people is they limit themselves what they can accomplish, and so then they start going the other route, or they just get discouraged, or they just turn into loser internet trolls. So, you can do a lot with average genetics, right? But you have to put in the time. It's literally 25 years of, kind of living the lifestyle, right? Not kind of, but I was living the lifestyle, am living the lifestyle. So it's not a part-time thing. If you want to see results, you need to put in consistent and persistent work. What's the current state of natural bodybuilding in your opinion? Would you ever come back? I did see the Yorton this past weekend. It did light a little fire for me to get back on stage. But honestly, they're just like all bodybuilding, there is just a decent amount of drama there that I just don't need in my life. I love to train and be a bodybuilder, but I don't necessarily need to strap on that old banana hammock anymore. Somebody said, are this products past WADA? So as I said earlier, for WADA, these two you avoid, these two you take. So, but at the end of the day, that's your responsibility as a competitor. So you need to talk with your organization and how they test. I don't get involved in that. It's too much. Do you think about being natural and join IFBB as a natural? Maybe one day, maybe when I'm 45, I'll come back and do the Masters Nationals or something. That could be kind of cool. Can't wait to get Hardbolic Blaze. Yep, good stack. Let's see here. Answered that question. Thoughts on the guillotine press versus incline bench for upper chest. Man, is this terrible? I don't even know what a guillotine press is. What a loser I am. Did you get standard blood panel done, or was this more advanced? It was a standard blood, so it has all your red blood cell counts, all those things, and liver enzymes, cholesterol, all that stuff. And then obviously I always ask for testosterone and free test. Do you take ashwagandha year-round? Not year-round, but definitely 8 weeks on, 8 weeks off. You could take ashwagandha all year-round. There's nothing wrong with that. A 25-year-old, you could see some benefits from it. How do you split up the Big Papa stack again? Okay, good question. Alpha. So this works for me. This is not the directions on the bottle. This is how I take Big Papa. Core test, I take 1 scoop in the afternoon. I mix it with greens and collagen. That's just what I do. Core hard, I split up 1 pill in the morning, which is pre-workout, 1 in the afternoon, and 1 before bed. I do the same thing with 5-AT. I take my 5-AT the same 3 times I take Core Hard. Core Alpha, I take 2 in pre-workout. Now, I know it says in here you can take it at night or take it, whenever. I take 2 in the morning pre-workout. Let's see. Let's see. Any other questions, guys, before I jump off here? Rep range, set volumes. What kind of food do you think also helped increase your testosterone levels? I talked about that, making sure to have a decent amount of fat and saturated fat in your diet. So red meat and egg yolks. When you say eating whole eggs, how many every other day? It's like 2 whole eggs, 2-3 whole eggs. It's nothing crazy. Can load be taken year-round? Yes, but like with everything, I would say load you could do 8 to 12 weeks on to take 4 weeks off. It'll just help that be more effective. I've definitely found that with berberine, something with a high dose of berberine. If you cycle off and then come back on, it just works a little better. So, guys, that's it. I will do another video of all the subs I take. Hope this was informative. I will figure out how to save this somewhere and post it up. So, appreciate you guys. Thanks.